Hello dear students, welcome back to a YouTube class. So in the previous class we were dealing on the points arrays. We had seen the meaning of array, different types of the arrays, that is one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array and multi-dimensional array. We started to study about one-dimensional array. We had seen the meaning of one-dimensional array. We had seen the syntax of one-dimensional array. We had also seen the example of your one-dimensional array. And then we had seen how we can find the total size of your array in your bytes. That also we had seen. After that we had seen the features of your array. We have totally 4 features of your array, that is a single dimensional array. The first one, we can say that the array size should be positive number only. The subscript or the size of the array which we represent should be always an integer number. That is a positive number. It should not be in your negative representation. That is the first feature of array we have. The second one we have is string are always terminate with null character. The strings which we represent in the format of arrays is nothing but the sequence of characters, and it is always terminated with your null character. It is always terminated with the null character. And the third one we have is array elements are counted from 0 to n minus 1. The n is nothing but we display as the size of your array, and the numbers we start representing, that is the content location when we want to store or to identify, we start with always the zeros as a first location of your array, and it is end will be always n minus 1. And the last one we have is it is useful for multiple reading of your elements. When we are reading the multiple elements, that time it is useful. Done? So the next one, today we'll study about calculating the length of the array. Calculating, we had studied about how we can calculate the size of the array in the format of bytes, that we had studied in the last session. Now in today's sessions, we'll see how we can calculate the length of the array. So calculating length of array. A new point in your next part of array is calculating the length of the array. We know that arrays can store a list of finite numbers of the data items, that is till n values we can do, and that data items of same data type in your consecutive locations, means in sequence one after the other, like that the values will be stored. Here the number n is called as your size or length of the array. Number n is called as your size or length of the array. How you can find this length of an array? It can be calculated with one simple formula, that is L is equals to UB minus LB plus 1. You can use this formula to know what is the length of your particular array. We know that the array can store a list of finite n number of the data items which are of same data type in a consecutive location, means in sequence one after the other the elements will be stored. Here the n is nothing but your length of the array or the size of the array. So how to find this length of the array or how to calculate this size is nothing but L is equals to UB minus LB plus 1. If you remember in the previous sessions when we were dealing with your single dimensional array, that time I told you that this UB is nothing but upper bound and LB is nothing but the lower bound. That is, the first element location is your LB and the last element location will be your UB. Done? So remember, your UB means upper bound, UB means upper bound, and LB means lower bound. LB means lower bound. Done? So the first element position what will be there in your array, that is your LB, and the last element from your array will be always your UB. It will be always your UB. Fine. So that is how we calculate. So let me give you an example. Just remember your UB is upper bound and LB is your lower bound, where UB is also called as largest index. UB is also called as largest index. Why it is called as largest index? Because it represents always the last element position. And UB is also called as smallest index because it represents always the first element position. Then, so how we can find it? We'll just see here. Consider an array. We'll take an example. Consider an array. Let it be the array name is X. Array name is X. So we have stored here the elements like 5, 15, 25, 35 and 45. We had stored the values like 5, 15, 25, 35 and 45. Then, so here the values are stored in the positions respectively stored in 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. The values are stored respectively in the position 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, we have to denote what is the value of UB and LB. So, if you see here, the first element's position is 0 and the last element's position is 4. So, here UB is nothing but 4 and your LB is nothing but 0. The first element position is LB and the last element position is UB. This is your UB and this is your LB. So when you want to calculate the length, you have to write the value of LB as 0 because it is 0th position and UB value is 4. This is the last element. Done? Now put the value 4 and 0 respectively in your this formula, then you will get the array size. So the size of an array or the length of an array, L is equals to, the formula I'll write first, UB minus LB plus 1, which is equals to, what is the value of UB? UB is 4 minus, what is the value of LB? LB is 0 plus 1, we have to write it. Done? So what our answer will get? 4 minus 0 is 4 plus 1 is 5. So the size of your array X is 5. The size of array X is 5. Like this, we can find out the size, or which is also called as the length of the array using this formula. That is, L is equals to UB minus LB plus 1. Then remember the formula, easily you can calculate. Then, so the next part in your syllabus will study about representation of one-dimensional array in memory. Next point, we'll study about how we can represent the one-dimensional arrays in the memory. Representation of one-dimensional arrays in memory. How we can represent a single dimensional arrays in the memory, that we'll study. This has been asked for 3 marks. Once it has been asked for 3 marks. Done? So today's we'll cover this point, that is representation of one-dimensional array in your memory. How you can represent a single dimensionals into your memory. Single dimensional array into your memory. So your elements of linear array are stored in consecutive memory locations. We know that the array values what all we had entered, that all will be stored in sequence one after the other in your memory. In your memory location, those are stored in sequence one after the other. Here we'll consider an example. Let consider that Z be the location of your element. Z be the location of your element. You can take Z or else we can take P, means position. Okay, let me take P as a location of your element. Location of your element. Okay, that consider as P, position. Okay, next. The address of first element of your linear array. Linear means in sequence one after the other. In sequence one after the other, the elements are stored sequentially without any break. Means if the memory address is 100, here the first element is stored. Next 101, next element is stored. Next in 102, next element is stored. In 103, the next element is stored. In sequence one after the other. It is not break. Means in 100 first element is stored. Next in 110 second element is stored. Next maybe in 200 third element is stored. It is not like that. In sequence one after the other. If you go in find first location, then the next will be in the consecutive memory location, one after the other. Such memory allocation is called as linear, and the values are stored in that way, so it is called as linear array. It is called as linear array. Then, so consider the P as the location of your element, P as a location of your element, and consider A as array. Consider A as array. Address of first element of your A array is given as, called as, or given as base A. It is called as base A, or else given as base A, which is called as address of A. Which is called as address of A. Don't get confused, just remember we are considering few variables. Okay, what we are doing, we are checking how the one dimensional array is stored in the memory. For that we had considered P as the location of the element, means here this 10 is stored in 100 location. So this location how we are representing with one variable called as P. Now the array name we had taken as A, and the first element's address we are considered as base of A. That we are considering as base of A. So what is base of A? Means address of the array. We consider it as address of array A, because array name we are calculating. Done. So next we have to calculate the address of any element in your array. How many elements you had entered, no? Among those all the elements, if you want to find any element's location, for example, I want to find the memory location of 30. I want to find the memory location of 20. Suppose again few more elements are entered. I want to find the location of 50. I want to find the location of 60. That all is possible. That all is possible. For that you have to use one formula. For that we have to use one formula. So what is that formula? That formula is location of A of P, means P will be the position or location of the element, equals to, first you have to get the base of E, means the first element's address, then plus W, what we are saying, plus W, and then we are saying P minus LB. We are saying P minus LB. Then, so understand the formula. When you want to study or when you want to find the location of any element which are there in the array, then we use this formula. So how to use this formula? Location of A of P equals to base of your A plus W P minus LB. Base of A means the first address of array A element. W means how many words you are storing in per memory cells. How many words you are storing in per memory cells. P means the location of that element, which location element's address you want to find it. LB means your lower bound. LB means your lower bound. So before seeing the example for this, first we will take one array, we'll store some elements into that, and then we'll find the memory location. Done? So now let me consider one string array. Let me consider one string array. Example, string array will take So that array elements are stored A, B, C, D and E. We are storing A, B, C, D and E. Fine. Now, how it is stored in the memory? We know how we can store that in the memory of the array. Normally, we'll create the boxes 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 because 5 elements are there. So this is A, this is B, this is C, D and E. Fine. Next, these are the contents of your array. These are the contents of your array. Next, locations. How we find the locations? We say that this array name will give it like yes. As it is relating to string, I'll give the yes. So yes of 0 we say, yes of 1 it is, yes of 2 it is, yes of 3 it is, and then the yes of 4 it is. Fine. We'll give the locations, that is the memory address. Normally, like 100, 101, 102, 103 and 104. 101, 102, 103 and 104. Done. Now consider this example and we'll try to find the memory location using this formula. Done. So the question comes in this way that your string is yes, which stores the elements A, B, C, D, E, starting with the memory address 100, and now we have to find the address of fourth element. Now we want to find the address of fourth element. Which is fourth element? This is first, second, third. The fourth element address, that is the D address we want to find. We know that the D address is 103, but even though we'll get 103 exactly or not, we'll see using this formula. Fine. So let me write the formula once again first here. So the address of D we want. That means in S of 3, what is stored? D, what is the memory address of that? We want to find it. Done. So how we can find it? Take the formula. Let me write here. Address of A of P, general formula, let me write, is equals to, what is the formula? Base of A plus words W P minus LB. P minus LB. Fine. Now we'll apply the same here. So how we can write the formula? Address of S of which we want? 3. S of 3 address we want. Okay. So what is stored in what is the address of your fourth element we are finding? So where your fourth element is stored? In the location S of 3. So what is the address of location of S of 3 is 103. This value we want to find it. So S of 3 is equals to base address of S is equals to base address of S plus W. How many words we are storing in your each memory cell? Then P minus LB. Okay. Now we'll put the values. Base of 3. What is the base of 3 value? 100. 100 plus how many words or how many elements we are storing in each cell? Only 1. So W value is 1. Next, P. What is the P value? P value is 3. P value is 3. Minus, what is the LB value? LB value is always 0. Done. So how we can calculate this? 100 plus 1. 3 minus 0 is 3. 100 plus 1 into 3 is 3. And the answer 100 plus 3 is 103. So this is your answer. 103 of your D. 103 of your D. Done. How to calculate your memory address of any element which is stored in your array, that you can find it in using this formula. Address of your any array element is equals to base of that array plus W value, how many words you are storing in each content, P, that is the position, minus LB value. Like this you can find it. Done. So remember the formula and you get to know how we can calculate that value. Done. So this is how we can find out the address of any element which is stored in your array. Done. So when all you get the questions on representing of one-dimensional array in the memory, first you have to explain how the array is stored in the memory with one example. Then you can use this formula and you can explain it. Fine. So this is about how we can represent one-dimensional arrays in your memory. The next most important point can be asked for 3 marks theory is the basic operations performed on your one-dimensional array. Basic operations performed on one-dimensional array. Note down. Basic operations performed on one-dimensional array. That is basic operations performed on your single dimensional array. Done. So we'll first see the list, then we'll see the meaning each on that point. Fine. So there are few operations which you can perform on your single dimensional array. Those are, the first one we have is traversing. These are little bit same of your non-linear operations. Fine. The second one we have is searching. The second one we have is searching. The third one we have is sorting. The fourth one we have is insertion. Next, the fifth one we have is deletion. And then the sixth one we have is merging. The sixth one we have is merging. So if you see, these all are the same, which the operations which we can perform on your data structures. That is your linear data structures. Guys, I'm really sorry. It was all the misprinted which was there in my textbook. Actually, the operations which we had studied on your non-linear data structure as in the last sessions, those all are the operations on your linear structure. What all you are studying, studied neatly, correctly, the meaning, everything is correct. Just you change the heading. Title we had taken as operations on non-linear we had taken. Fine, you remember? So remove this non-linear, it is linear. Operations studied on your linear data structures. There was a misprinted in your textbook, so I had taken the same. Sorry for that. The operations which I have studied is traversal, insertion, deletion, searching, sorting and merging. Those all the operations are relating to your non-linear, not the linear. Fine. So study it here. In the last class we had studied these all the operations, you remember. These operations are on linear data structures. We have studied it as non-linear data structure. Just change the title. Everything inside what we have studied is all same. Fine. Just do that change. Sorry for that wrong confirmation I had given for you all. Done. So just change that. So I get to know now, because these all the operations are relating to a linear data structure, because the array is again the part of linear, not the non-linear data structure. In non-linear we have only graph and trees. Okay, and on graph and trees we cannot perform these operations. Done. So the linear are like your array, stack, queue, linked list. Those all the parts are coming to your linear data structures. So these all the operations which comes for your linear data structures, same comes for your arrays and your other linear data structure examples. Those are like your lists, stack, queue, and your linked list, what all we have now, in those all. Done. So just change that title, the inside content, what all we have, that everything is same, explanation is same, just you change that title, you make that non-linear as linear data structure. Done. Okay, so we'll study about your basic operations performed on your one-dimensional array. Which all the operations we have? We have is traversing, searching, sorting, insertion, deletion, and merging. Done. So we'll study these operations. We had studied these operations already on common on your linear data structure. Now we'll study these operations exactly on your single dimensional array, that is on your one-dimensional array. So the first one says is traversing. What we do here in the traversing is we access each element of the array. You have to mention here of the array because we are performing it on array. Here we were performing on the data structure or a group of elements because it is relating to common we are speaking. Then now you are specially speaking about your arrays, so you have to use that word array. You have to compulsorily use that word array. Done. So traversing means accessing each element of array exactly once to do some operations. Exactly once to do some operations. Remember. Done. So what is your traversing? Traversing is nothing but accessing each element of an array. A word array should be there when you are talking relating to the operations on your array. If you will not use the word array, then you lose your marks. Done. Accessing each element of an array exactly once to perform some operations. To perform some operation on that data. Done. Then the second one we have is searching. What do you mean by searching? Searching is nothing but finding the location of an element in the array. Searching is nothing but finding the location of an element, from the array. Suppose consider this is your array. You are stored like 10, 20, 30 and 40. Now you want to know where 20 is located. If you want to know, then we go for this searching operation. We go for searching operations. Then next, the third one we have is sorting. Sorting is nothing but arrangement of the elements of your array in some order. So what is that order? That order can be the ascending or the order can be the descending. So when all you want to arrange or rearrange the elements of your array in your ascending order or in descending order, that is called as sorting. For example, consider the array. I had stored the elements like 20, 40, 10 and 30. Just see here. In the first array, 10, 20, 30, 40, these are in sequence in a ascending order. Means first smallest element is there, then the largest element is there. If you see these examples, see here. First 20 is there, then the 40 is there, then again 10 comes and then again 30 comes. So these are not in the sequence. Then, so if you want to rearrange these values in a sequence, either from smallest to largest or from largest to smallest, that is called as ascending order or in the descending order, then we perform the operation called as sorting. We perform the operation called as sorting. The next fourth one we have is called as insertion. So what do you mean by insertion? Insertion means adding an element into the array. Adding an element into the array. See here, this is your array. 10, 20, 30, 40 is there. Now I want to add one more element, that is called as 50. So I am adding one more element to this already created array, that is called as insertion. Then, so what we are doing here, inserting or adding an element or the elements, you can add it. Multiple also you can add it. Next, the fifth one is deletion. Deletion means removing the element from your array. For example, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. These 5 elements are there in your array. Now I want to delete this 20. So I'll remove this 20. What all the elements remaining? 10, 30, 40 and 50. 4 elements will be there in your array. So deleting or removing the elements from your array is called as deletion. Done? So what do you mean by deletion? Deletion means deleting or removing the elements from your array. Then the sixth one, the last we have is merging. What do you mean by merging? Merging is nothing but combining one or more arrays to form a single array. Combining one or more array to form one single array. So for examples here, one array is there, 10, 20, 30. The elements are 10, 20 and 30. Another array is there where we have 40 and 50. 2 elements are there. Now when you want to combine these two arrays so that we can form only one array, consider this is 1, this is 2. So if you want to combine these, and you will get a single array, that is 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So where earlier 2 arrays were there, now it is combined and formed one single array. So that operation is called as merging. That operation is called as merging. Then, so study this basic operations performed on your single dimensional array. It has been asked for 5 marks and 3 marks. It has been already asked for 5 marks and 3 marks. So these all are the basic operations which we can perform on your one dimensional array, that is traversing, searching, sorting, insertion, deletion and merging. So this question has been asked in your exam for 5 marks and 3 marks. Remember, done? So in the today's sessions, we had seen these all the theory part, that is calculating the length of your array, then how you can represent your one single dimensional array in your memory, and these all are the basic operations which we can perform on your single dimensional array. So note down this point. I told you that change you have to do it. I guess in session 2 I told you, or session 3, that point you just correct it. Fine. So just correct it, and these are all the points you have to study. Next class onwards we'll start studying about your algorithms on your arrays and the programs. Meanwhile we'll study those. Done? So anything, if you have any doubts relating to the theory part till now whatever we had covered, let me know. I'll clarify your theories, and from tomorrow onwards we'll start studying about your algorithms and the programs relating to your data structure chapter. Thank you.